Okay, The Snail and the Whale by Julia Donaldson and Axel Scheffler. The Snail and the Whale. This is the tale of a tiny snail and a great big grey-blue humpback whale. This is a rock as black as soot, and this is a snail with an itchy foot. Itchy, itchy, itchy. The sea snail slithered all over the rock and gazed at the sea and the ships in the dock. The sea is deep and the world is wide. How I long to sail, said the tiny snail. See, these are all these rocks with barnacles on them and snails, and these are all the ships in the dock and seagulls going, ho, ho. The seagulls are going, ho, ho. And there's some more ships in the harbor. There's a cat sitting over here as well. And the lighthouse. These are the other snails in the flock, who all stuck tight to the smooth black rock and said to the snail with the itchy foot, "Be quiet, don't wiggle, sit still, stay put." But this tiny sea snail sniffed and sighed, then cried, "I've got it, I'll hitch a ride." This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail that looped and curled and said, "Ride wanted around the world." He wrote it with his silvery trail on this big rock. Here's a seagull catching a fish. This is the whale who came one night when the tide was high and the stars were bright, a humpback whale immensely long, who sang to the snail a wonderful song of shimmering ice and coral caves and shooting stars and enormous waves. And this is the tale of the humpback whale. He held it out of the starlit sea and said to the snail, "Come sail with me." So the little snail gets on the tail of the humpback whale. Isn't that beautiful? This is the sea, so wild and free, that carried the whale and the snail on its tail to towering icebergs and far-off lands. Here they are with seals and icebergs and the snails and the whale. These little penguins there. With fiery mountains and golden sands. Look at this beautiful volcano erupting, fiery mountains, and there's a turtle, maybe Galapagos Islands, who knows. There's a monkey here and some beautiful flowers, and there's a little bug over here. Dolphins in the water, and the snail is seeing it all on the tail of the humpback whale. These are the waves that arched and crashed, that foamed and frolicked and sprayed and splashed. You like splashing in the water? The tiny snail on the tail of the whale. These are the caves beneath the waves, where colorful fish with feathery fins and sharks with hideous toothy grins swam past the whale and the snail on his tail. Here these sharks with toothy grins look a bit evil. And there's an octopus and lots of coral and sea anemones. This is the sky, so vast and high, sometimes sunny and blue and warm, sometimes filled with a thunderstorm, with zigzag lightning flashing and frightening the tiny snail on the tail of the whale. And there's toucans up there and crabs down here. This looks very scary, the zigzag lightning going boom, 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 like thunder. And she gazed at the sky, the sea and the land, the waves and the caves and the golden sand. She gazed and gazed, amazed by it all, and she said to the whale, "I feel so small." Look at this big bear over here and an eagle. Maybe they're in Canada. Who knows? Could be the Great Lakes. But then came the day the whale lost his way. These are the speedboats running a race, zigging and zooming all over the place, upsetting the whale with their ear-splitting roar, making him swim too close to the shore. All these people in their speedboats and the poor whale. Look at the cliffs and the lighthouse. These are beautiful. Is this the cliffs of Dover, maybe? This is the tide slipping away. Oh no. And this is the whale lying beached in a bay. Quick, off the sand, back to the sea, said the snail. I can't move on the land, I'm too big, moaned the whale. The snail felt helpless and terribly small. Then I've got it, she cried, and started to crawl. The poor whale is beached on the beach, on the sand. I must not fail, said the tiny snail, and the snail goes off to save the whale. This is the bell on the school in the bay, ringing the children in from their play. This is the teacher holding her chalk, telling the class, sit straight, don't talk. This is the board as black as soot, and this is the snail with the itchy foot. A snail, the teacher turns pale. Look, say the children, it's leaving a trail. This is the trail of the tiny snail, a silvery trail saying, save the whale. Look at that, the snail wrote save the whale. These are the children running from school, fetching the firemen, digging a pool, squirting and spraying to keep the whale cool. So they're all spraying water to keep the whale cool. Yeah. This is the tide coming into the bay, and these are the villagers shouting, hooray! Hooray! And as the whale and the snail travel safely away. So they manage to get away, and the snail saves him. Back to the dock and the flock on the rock, who said, how time's flown, and haven't you grown? And the whale and the snail told their wonderful tale of shimmering ice and coral caves, and shooting stars and enormous waves, and of how the snail, so small and frail, with her looping, curling, silvery trail, saved the life of the humpback whale. Then the humpback whale held out his tail, and on crawled snail after snail after snail, and they all get on the humpback whale's tail. The cat's looking from up there. And they sang to the sea as they all set sail on the tail of the grey-blue humpback whale. Look at them all going off to go on an adventure together. The humpback whale takes them with him. And there's a seagull with another fish in his mouth. How was that? Did you enjoy that book? About the snail on the tail of the humpback whale. Yeah. All done. All done. Finished.